All right, let's break down some of the most fundamental building blocks in JavaScript, operators. If you've ever looked at code and wondered how it actually does stuff, well, you are in exactly the right place. Let's get into it. I mean, it's a great question to start with, right? How do we go from just lines of text on a screen to real, actual actions and calculations? Well, the secret lies in these small but incredibly powerful symbols called operators. So let's get a clear definition on the table. Think of operators as the tools in your coding toolkit. They're basically the action verbs that do all the heavy lifting, all the calculating, comparing, and assigning. Honestly, without them, our code would just be a list of things with nothing to do with them. To make this even easier to grasp, we're going to use a little analogy. Just think of operators as individual Lego blocks. We're going to start with the most basic ones, and then we'll see how they can snap together to build some really complex and powerful instructions.
Okay, first up, the arithmetic operators. If you've ever taken a math class, and I'm guessing you have, these first few blocks are going to look super familiar. We're starting with the classics: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. JavaScript also has one for exponentiation, which is just a fancy way of saying to the power of, like 6 squared. These let you do all the standard math you'd expect right inside your code.
But hold on, there's another one in this group. It might be new to you, but trust me, it is an absolute game changer in programming. It's called the modulus operator. So what on earth does that mean? The modulus operator, it's that little percent sign. It doesn't actually care how many times one number fits into another. Nope, it only cares about what's left over at the end. Here's a super simple way to think about it. Imagine you've got 7 cookies and 3 friends. You can give each friend 2 cookies, right? But you're still going to have 1 cookie left over. That leftover cookie, that is the result of the modulus. And this whole idea of remainders is so useful for things like checking if a number is even or odd. All right, let's move on to our next set of Legos. Now we're looking at unary operators. These guys are pretty unique because they're all about making a quick change to just a single value. You see, unlike the math operators that need 2 values to work, like 2 plus 2, unary operators only need 1. This makes them absolutely perfect for when you need to quickly add or subtract 1 from a number, like when you're keeping count inside a loop. The 2 big ones you're going to run into all the time are pre-increment and pre-decrement. All they do is add or subtract 1 from a variable. To really see how they work, let's just focus on pre-increment for a second. Now, the order of things here is absolutely critical. With pre-increment, the value is increased by 1 first, and then that new updated value gets used in whatever you're doing. That timing, that tiny little detail, can make a huge difference in how your code actually works. And for our final category of Lego blocks, let's look at some fantastic shortcuts that will make your code so much cleaner and more efficient. I'm talking about assignment operators. So, you already know the most famous assignment operator, the good old equal sign. But JavaScript gives us these powerful little shorthands that combine a math calculation and an assignment all into one neat step. Getting the hang of these is a real sign that you're starting to write clean, pro-level code. Just take a look at this. On the left, you've got the standard way. A variable c equals itself minus 2. And on the right, the smart shortcut, c minus equals 2. They do the exact same thing, but the one on the right is way faster to type and honestly a lot easier to read once you get used to it. And here is the single most important thing to remember about assignment operators, that change is permanent. The variable's original value gets updated, and it stays that way. This isn't just a temporary calculation. You are fundamentally changing the value stored in that variable for good. So let's just take a step back for a second. We've just looked at 3 totally different kinds of these operator building blocks, but why does any of this matter so much? Well, these 3 categories basically form the core of your operator toolkit. You've got your arithmetic operators for all the math, you've got unary operators for those quick one-step changes, and you've got assignment operators for writing really efficient, smart shortcuts. Just by understanding these 3 groups, you now have the power to start writing code that actually does things. Seriously, these operators are your direct ticket to making things happen with code. These are the Legos you can now start snapping together. You can build calculators, counters, cool animations, anything. So really, the only question left is, what are you going to build first?